Leaders of the BRICS emerging market nations have signed a deal and launched a $100 billion development bank and a currency reserve pool in their first concrete step towards reshaping the Western-dominated international financial system. The bank aims at funding infrastructure projects in developing nations. This bank will be based in Shanghai, and India will preside over its operations for the first 5 years. They have also set up a $100 billion currency reserves pool to help countries to contain short-term liquidity pressures. The bank will start with a subscribed capital of $50 billion divided equally between its 5 founders.
O novo Banco de Desenvolvimento dos BRICS deve ter capital inicial autorizado de 100 bilhões.
The new BRICS Development Bank should have initial authorized capital of 100 billion and initial subscribed capital of 50 billion equally distributed between its founding members. The first bank president will be from India, the first regional office will be in South Africa, and the bank's headquarters will be in Shanghai.
Do board de governadores.
The BRICS were prompted to see coordinated action following an exodus of capital from emerging markets last year, triggered by scaling back of the US monetary stimulus. The new bank reflects the growing influence of the BRICS, which account for almost half the world's population and about 1/5 of the global economic output.
Позвольте выделить только некоторые самые важные. Мы предлагаем учредить энергетическую ассоциацию.
We suggest to set up an energy association for the BRICS, and we can also create reserve fuel bank, and this could also consolidate our energy security.
Эти шаги позволили бы укрепить энергобезопасность наших стран.
Negotiations over the headquarters and first presidency were reached at the 11th hour due to differences between India and China. The impasse reflected the difficulties that Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa face in working together to build an alternative to the Bretton Woods institution dominated by the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi applauded the group for reaching a consensus after the idea was first floated in India 2 years ago.
The vision of a new development bank at the Delhi summit 2 years ago has been translated into a reality. In Fortaleza, it will benefit BRICS nations, but will also support other developing nations, and it will be rooted in our own experiences as developing countries.
Negotiations to create the bank dragged on over those 2 years as Brazil and India fought China's attempt to get a bigger share in the lender than the others. The initiatives gather momentum after the reverse in the flows of cheap dollars that fueled a boom in emerging markets for a decade, and Chinese President Xi Jinping said the agreement would have far-reaching benefits for BRICS members and other developing nations.
在各方共同的努力下，我们今天 Through
the concerted efforts from all the sides, we have managed to reach a consensus in creation of the BRICS Development Bank. This is the result of the significant implications and far reach of BRICS cooperation. This will not only help increase the voice of BRICS nation in terms of international finance, but more importantly will bring benefits to all the people in the BRICS country and for all the peoples in developing countries.
感谢大家支持银行落户。
The bank will start lending in 2016 and be open to membership by the countries, but the capital share of the BRICS cannot drop below 55%. Business Bureau, DD News.